Hello and welcome to another video on Horizon 2020. My name is Melanie Büscher and the intention with these videos is to give you, in particular if you are not a newcomer to Horizon 2020, enough knowledge in order to save a lot of time when you're doing your financial reporting with the EU. And also hopefully also to give you the experience that things aren't as complicated as such. Today I would like to focus on time recording. When you have people working on your Horizon 2020 project, one of the most common ways of documenting personal costs is by having time records for the people involved. Article 18 in your grant agreement is listing a number of minimum requirements that you have to fulfill when you have time records. Whether these time records are electronic or in paper is totally up to you, but these minimum requirements, they have to be fulfilled. Also, I would like to share with you one piece of advice which hopefully should save you some cost and time, in particular when you're doing your financial reporting at the end of your next project phase. What Article 18 is requiring from your time records are the following things. One of the things is that it has to be shown in your time recording system, again, whether it's on paper or electronic, in an electronic version, which grant agreement number and the title of the Horizon 2020 project we are referring to. Also, we have to have the date in order to show which period is covered. There also has to be some sort of reference to the work packages involved or the work packages that have been covered by the person working on the project during that time. Then we have to state the name of the beneficiary, so your organization, your company, as well as two signatures. The one signature is by the person who does record the time and has worked on the project, and the other signature is by the person's superior. Now, if you are a director in a small or medium-sized company, or if you are an SME owner, it will be difficult for you to produce two signatures because obviously you don't have to have a superior. But still, time records would be accepted as a documentation in those cases. But everybody else who has a superior or maybe has the opportunity to use an accountant to countersign the time records, this would be a necessity. And then of course the Horizon 2020 hours have to be shown very clearly on the time record. That means that your time record does not have to cover all the working hour of that particular person in that particular period, but it has to be a means of documentation for the Horizon 2020 project hours. Now, my personal recommendation to you in order to make your life easier when you do your reporting is not only to include a reference to the work packages that were dealt with during that particular period of time, but actually straight from the beginning describe clearly how many hours have been spent on, for example, work package 1, 2, 3, because that information you need during your project reporting. In the financial statement there is a section called the explanation of the use of resources, where actually you have to come up with an estimate or a description of the number of person months per work package. If you record your time like this from the beginning, it will be much easier for you to do the calculation. Also, I have to mention that not everybody has to fill in time record. If you or if somebody around you, one of your employees, does nothing but work on the Horizon 2020 project in a given period of time, you also have the possibility to sign a so-called declaration on the exclusive work on the action at the end of a project period. What is important for you to know, however, is that if your organization is chosen for an EU audit, what an EU auditor typically will do is they will go through your work calendar to see whether the work actually has been exclusively used on the Horizon 2020 project, or if it was kind of an estimate. And the reason behind that is, of course, that the EU wants to make sure that the EU funding, the Horizon 2020 funding, only goes to Horizon 2020 related activities. Also, as a last piece of information for you, very important to know, during your project period, normally you do not need to send in any time records to the European Union. This is part of the documentation that you have to have ready in case you have an EU auditor. So this is something that is covered by Article 18 as a general documentation requirement, but this is not something that you have to send in neither to your coordinator or to the EU. So that was what I had on time recording, and if you want to remember one thing, it is an extremely good idea to distribute your time registration between the different work packages. Pin that out explicitly straight from the beginning. Thank you very much.